Let's do this. Mr. Byron, you want to lead us in prayer, please, sir?
Come to you right now, my Father, say thank you. We thank you, my Father, because you allowed us to see another day. And then, my Father, we want to thank you for keeping your love and arm of protection around us as we maneuver through today, my Father. We come to you right now, Father, actually that we do things diligent and in order for the city of Crowley and take care of the business of the city of Crowley, my Father. We ask all this in your daughter's son, Jesus Christ's name. Amen.
Amen. Pledge, Chief, you want to lead us in the pledge? Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. Mr. Dorey, it's your meeting, Public Works. Jump right on into it, huh?
I will now open Public Works. First thing we have on our agenda is the reports. Public Works Director Albert John.
Good afternoon. Let's have a couple of quick things. We have one piece of equipment that's down. That's the I-10 tractor. It's been down for a few weeks. We got it back a couple of days ago, last Thursday, I believe, and it went back down Friday. So as of the report this morning, they're going to try to overnight parts, and hopefully it's back together for the beginning of next week.
Albert, you
Yes.
want to give a little history on that tractor?
Yeah.
How old is it? And of course, it's undersized.
That tractor, actually, the city needs a new tractor. That tractor was purchased in '06. I believe it was about June or July. The council and mayor at that time purchased it. It pulls a 15-foot cutter on it right now. And that's what was purchased then. Well, the tractor, we've been having some problems over the years. We've probably changed 5 or 6 clutches on it. And that was the problem we had 3 weeks ago, which just got fixed. Now the PTO is out, which is yes, very expensive. So we had a representative, John Deere sent a representative down to Sunshine when it was in the shop there one time. And he told me that tractor did not have the horsepower capable of pulling that cutter. Should have at least 100 horse. And that's a 55-25, and I want to say it may have, I'm not sure on the horsepower, but it's less than 80. It's 80 or less. We spent a lot of money. I have all the numbers over the years. It is, what, 19 years old? It's old. It's time for a new tractor. What other history would you like? I mean, that's about all I can tell you. We spent much more money than what it cost back then, and to replace it today, even if it was the same size tractor, is double. So. I haven't priced one in 3 years, but it's about I would guess it's about 80 grand now, just for the tractor, and that's a 4-wheel drive tractor. That tractor and cutter was less than $60,000 in 2006. That the cutter alone, I bought a new cutter. We gave the old one to wastewater, 15 foot, was right at 16 grand just for the cutter. Now, that 50 grand I was said just now included the tractor and the cutter. So it's not cheap.
Albert, can you get a quote at the state contract rate?
Yeah, I'll get with the mayor and see which companies he wants me to get a quote on. I mean, we'll have to go over the specs, the size.
Sure.
Yeah, I can do that.
Step, you have a question?
Thank you.
Well, first of all,
First of all, thanking God for being here to talk to y'all today. Thank y'all for all the calls and everything. One even called and told me I owed him money. I told him you got the wrong number. But and he was serious. Albert, I remember when that tractor, what you were talking
Yeah,
about.
you were on
Didn't
the-
they have
you
a
were on the
trailer
council.
with it as well?
I'm sorry?
A trailer. Didn't it come with a trailer as well?
No, sir.
It didn't?
No, sir.
I think that was the objection that I don't know, it was myself, but one of them made, well, do we get a trailer with it for that price? And like you said, at that time, it was too low of a bid. So,
And there were two other pieces of equipment purchased at that time. There was
Okay,
a
that's what it
zero-turn mower.
Okay, that's what it was,
And
for the
there was a
highway.
gator.
okay, wasn't we doing the highway at the time?
I'm sorry?
Wasn't we doing the highway at the time?
Yes,
I-10?
that
Okay,
was purchased
All right.
for cutting the interstate.
right. Basically what happened here, what he's talking about, at that time, we felt that we was losing money by having people go out and cut it. So if I'm not mistaken, Tim was the person that got the job.
Tim
Tim
Crater?
Crater, yeah.
Crater was the first
Okay.
person to
Mess
cut
up
on that
our,
tractor.
mess up our tracks. Yeah, he was the first
Correct.
one. Tim, I know you're good at that, buddy. I know you're good. Yeah.
I might add, though, when we purchased that tractor back then, Sunshine had sent a rep
Okay,
with the mayor at the time and street commissioner at the time, and they came up with that size tractor back then.
yeah.
That's,
And that's, we operated that for 10 years.
Well, I believe so.
Myself,
Right.
the plus was twice.
twice, yes.
But anyway, look, so basically we wanted the elephant and we got a mouse.
I'm sorry?
We wanted the elephant, but we got a mouse to pull something. So in other words, the elephant would have pulled it, but we got a mouse instead of an elephant.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, okay. All right, I'm good with
You know,
that.
had it been a bigger tractor, bigger horsepower tractor, over 100, I don't think we'd have spent the amount of
Right.
money that we spent on it, because that grass gets tall
Right.
when it's off-season, and I see them going out there. I mean, you can't just put it down close to the ground and cut. You're gonna have to make at least 2, if not 3 passes to get it under control, just to start.
Gotcha.
And then, see, at that time, that's all Tim was doing,
Yeah,
was cutting
that was
grass
his
on
only
the
job.
interstate, so it kept up,
Right.
but you don't have that situation now, and and when you have a breakdown, and you get all this rain, that grass is growing, you can't just jump back out there and put that deck down and expect to get it like a manicured lawn.
Right, but I do remember, that was, I think, Tim, we took you from the recreation department at that time, and you went out there. All right, thank you, man. I just want to give a little history on that, but I remember when we bought that. All right, thank you.
Any other questions? Yes, sir.
This may sound stupid, but is it more convenient to have, what's the little small unit that we bought last that y'all cut grass on the interstate with now?
The skid steer.
The skid steer, is it more beneficial to have a skid steer?
No.
With a bush hog on it, or to have a tractor?
No, tractor.
Tractor,
Yeah.
okay.
Tractor,
We do use the skid steer now,
right.
since they put the cables on the interstate, because the bush hog doesn't fit between the cable and the lane of travel on one side of the cable. So currently, we use the skid steer to cut that strip. But honestly, we need to find another option for that soon, because it's gonna wear that skid steer out. It's entirely too much running up and down the interstate with that thing.
Okay, thank you.
All right, any other questions for Albert? If not, we'll move on.
Thank you.
Albert. The next is,
I think the chief brought a good point. Maybe we need to look back into letting the feds cut the grass themselves, okay?
cut the
'Cause-
grass what?
At one time, the feds used to cut the grass. They would send, I think they worked through a state contract, and it would pass maybe once a month. And it-
Look at the grass
Right.
outside of Crowley, between Crowley and Rain.
Right.
You'll see what it's gonna look like if you let somebody else cut it.
But I'm just saying. I
Our
mean,
city
right.
started doing it so that our exits in our city would look
Exactly,
like somewhere
exactly.
that people would wanna get off the interstate.
Right.
They don't keep up with it.
Right. Well, I'm just saying. Right.
A smaller tractor? Yes. A smaller tractor, yeah. well, and it's gonna wear it out, yeah.
We'll be back in the situation we're in now with the too small for what it's doing. Thank you all. Next will be our city engineer, Mr. Tim Mater.
Thank you, Jeff. If you will look at my engineer's report, always don't like to use this word when I can. I have a plethora of resolutions for you today.
Print that, Steve, a plethora.
I'm quoting the scene from The Three Amigos, I think. So if you'll turn to page 2 of my engineer's report, that's the first resolution. These several resolutions are going to be about a decision to re-advertise for certain services that we've been enjoying, such as sealing of cracks, materials, of internal television inspection, those things that we've been doing for quite some time. And in doing those particular contracts, we've been extending them. And you probably remember we did this not that long ago, about a year ago. And when we took bids on one of them, the low bid was half of what the other bids were, if you remember. And that contractor was willing to continue to honor that price, so we extended it. And I've talked to Mike about it, make sure that we're within our rights to do this under the bid law. So the first item is for crack routing, cleaning, and sealing. If you look on page 2, where you see the big bold D in the margin, the request would be to adopt a resolution to authorize the extension of the contract we currently have with Strike Force One for another 12 months. So that would go through August 31st, 2026. That one is a contractor, every time we've taken bids, it's the only bidder. So it doesn't make a lot of sense to spend money preparing specifications, going through a bid process, and you get the same bidder on the chance that bidder is going to have a higher price. So we recommend, and you could re-advertise and start over again, but that a contractor is willing to hold that price, and I would recommend you extend it for a year.
Make a motion.
We have a motion.
Second.
Second. Any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
Similarly, on page 3, where you see the bold E in the left margin, this is the situation is you need to decide whether to extend the current contract you have with EL Habits Builders or advertise for bids again. And it's a similar situation, although we did have competition. If you look at the resolution for that, you'll see in the preamble I've kind of outlined we've been extending this since 2021, and the contractor's happy with $1,700 a day. And as I mentioned before, we had bids of $3,500 a day, $3,680 a day, $4,500 a day, 5 or 6 years ago. But you have a contractor, local contractor, who's willing to extend his price for another 12 months. So similarly, I would suggest that you authorize by this resolution to extend that contract.
So moved.
We have a motion.
Second.
We have a second. Any discussion? Mr. Martin?
The citizens of Crowley don't know what they have in Harvest Construction. I travel all over the state, and they talk about him, and I have the pleasure of knowing him personally, you know. For a person, I deal in this type business. To keep that bid that low for so long, that's from the heart. That's not looking at the bottom line, say it's time for me to make money, okay? Why this man did not, and I'm going to say it again, I know we're going to harp about it a little later. Everyone is asking me, why didn't EL Habits get the contract with that pavilion, which we're going to discuss a little later, I understand. But it's a thorn in my side because I have to share with everybody, I have no idea. But I just want to let y'all know, when you got something good like that, you take care of home. And for him to do something like that in the city of Crowley is unheard of. And I just want to give him praise for doing what he do for the city.
Thank you, Mr. Martin. Any other discussion?
I'll just add one thing. In terms of the reference to public bid and extending those contracts, they're essentially labor and services contracts. So they're not necessarily subject to public bid. So that's the reason that we're able to extend them.
Thank you.
Stays where it is, material goes up and down, so. But thank you for bringing that up, buddy. Thank you.
Okay, any more discussion? If not, all in favor? All opposed? Motion passes.
Just to be sure, this is not labor and materials, it's labor and equipment.
Yeah.
City buys the materials. Okay. On page 3, the next item is at the big bold F in the left margin, and this is our internal television inspection and cleaning. It's used quite a bit for both your sewer system, sanitary sewer system, and your storm drainage systems. Again, we took bids going back several years, and we've been extending that, not quite as long as the labor and equipment contract, but we find ourselves in the same situation. We treat this a little differently in that we take bids and we have the low bidder who we go to first, and if you have an emergency, which you sometimes do in your sewer system, and that contractor is devoted somewhere else, committed to another job, but you need to get it done, then we go to the second low bidder. There wasn't a lot of difference in the pricing between the low and the second low and the third low. The third guy dropped out about a year ago. He said he wouldn't extend his bid. So I think for the same logic, save you some time, is it's best to extend the contract with these two companies, CES and SEMS.
Okay, do we have a motion?
I also move to approve action item number 3.
Do we have a motion? Do we have a second? Have a second? Any discussion? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
All right, and I have one more resolution, and you can stop me on the way there if you have any questions about the updates. But on page 5, we have an opportunity to get a grant, a better grant than we did 5 or 10 years ago, to finish off downtown Parkerson between Front Street and Second Street. DOTD has this enhancements program. We were approved for a grant, again, about 5 or 10 years ago, and that grant amount was capped. And inflation took off, but the cap stayed where it was, and eventually it wasn't worth it. We were going to have to spend more money, city money, than the grant amount to do the project. So we kept getting pressure from DOTD to either go forward with the project or abandon it, and we decided to abandon it because of the proportion of money the city would have to put forth. Now the program has changed to where we can apply and establish a new cap, and they will pay 10% of eligible construction cost, and DOTD will provide the engineering. So that costs you nothing as well. So we had a deadline to submit the application, and part of the application to strengthen it would be a resolution from the council to support and commit to local funds, because that application is going to compete with many other applications. So I'm asking you to look at a resolution authorizing the application and supporting the project under the Historic Parkerson Avenue Redevelopment Project Phase 2 and the DOTD Transportation Alternatives Program.
So move.
We have a motion.
Second.
We have a second.
I just want to make sure I understood you correctly. So it'll cover 10% of the work that's done plus the engineering for the project?
it'll cover 90%.
90%. We will pay 10%.
Right.
Okay, thank you, that's all I need.
All right.
Okay, we have a motion and a second, and any
I have
discussion?
some discussion. Last year, at another time when we had a grant, and there was a grant we could have applied for regarding assistance with removing blight in the city, will this grant it won't interfere if we
This is
apply
different.
for any other similar grants? It won't interfere with that?
It shouldn't, it's a different program altogether.
Okay,
That was LCDBG, the other
Okay.
grant. And at the time, and still, we had two sewer projects that obviously were more important to get done. But this is a LTAP, this is through DOTD.
okay. All right, thank you.
Also, Chuck, just a FYI, I would have never agreed to move forward with this
At a
had
10%.
we had to pay 90% of the bill.
I got confused because I was
Yes,
gonna
sir.
say, how much is this gonna cost?
All right, any further discussion? Step?
You know, there was a lot of confusion in the city of Crowley about that other grant. It caused a lot of confusion. I've been dealing with these people a long time. And you know, when it gets to the news, it's already gone. You have to understand that. Once it hits the news that the grant is there, the money is already gone. Okay? Because it filters through 25, 30 organizations before it gets to Channel 10 or Channel 3. Okay, so I just want to say it caused a lot of confusion, but Mayor, I was glad you were on top of it to explain to people, because there was a lot of neglect in the city because they were waiting, and that was their excuse. We're waiting on that grant. But anyway, just want to let y'all know, I call that a pie in the sky. But once it hit the news, it's already gone.
All right, thank you. Thank you, Step. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor? All opposed? Motion passes.
If Councilman Ashby is happy, that's all I have.
I will recess. Oh, the street commissioner, Wesley.
He still loves you, Wesley, he still loves you.
He's so quiet over there.
How y'all doing today?
He was about to be loud, though, if you'd have passed him up.
Yeah.
I might have fell asleep. How y'all doing today? As far as the normal routine, grass, full-fledged, we're not digging as many ditches right now. We're more focused on trees. We've cut as of today, 16 trees since the last meeting, and we're talking about full-grown, big, huge trees. We even had to hire a contractor to come do the two big trees on Avenue I. They were just too massive for us. As far as trucks, we're good on vehicles. Inside joke, the mayor didn't break the grapple truck. One night we was out there cleaning up a little bit. I've taken it, I'm starting to learn how to run it. I'm not as good as them, but I'm starting to learn, so I took it out yesterday and did a few loads. Excuse me. So I'm trying to teach myself how to run it, just to have an extra operator, because we don't have a designated operator for it. And then today, my operator was out, so I was the operator today. As far as drainage, I thought I'd had a chance yesterday. Today is Tuesday. Yesterday, my plans was to go on West 6th Street and guzzle the area that we talked about, Mr. Step. Unfortunately, wastewater was using the guzzler. I thought I'd back it up to the day, but we had a tree down early this morning, so that nullified it. But I hadn't forgot about it. Excuse me, my allergies are whoo. But other than that, we've been doing culvert installation, cutting grass. We're trying. Y'all was talking about the tractor. The tractor's been down, I would say it a couple weeks, but it's more like a couple months. It's been broke. We get it back, something else breaks. We get it back, something else breaks. But we've been sending the skidder to go out there and cut the tight spots so the tractor doesn't have to stop and pull up so much. That helped a little bit, but like the mayor said, along those cables, we've had to cut it with the skidder and it's a long run, and then when you got the other side. So ultimately, we're trying our best. I want to commend the city. I don't know what it is. You all talking to the people in the neighborhoods, but I see more people the last couple months out in the yards, bagging up leaves, raking, stuff like that. It's helping. So I just want to commend the people around. What else? The only thing I'm going to ask for this time, I need some new mowers. So I'm going to ask, can we requisite that money that we sold the reclaim for, the extra amount that we sold when I took the skidder? We used X amount, but we sold even more. I need to buy some new mowers. And it doesn't just affect the street department, because code enforcement uses our mowers. Jonathan uses one of our mowers in particular, cut like around the police station, so it affects different places. One of the mowers that's about to go, is on its last leg, is one of the mowers that we cut in the park. So we're in the street department, but we actually help out in a few different areas. So that would be my only request at this time, is to repurpose that reclaim money that we sold at the end of last year, and we sold a little bit this year, so we can fund it back in the street department, because I don't have anything in my capital outlays to buy any equipment right now. My next budget I'll try, but I need mowers right now.
Chair, Wes, can you get some quotes for the state contract rate from, how many mowers do you need?
I need to. I want 3.
Okay, well, if you can,
I need 2 for sure, but I like 3. I already got the prices. I've been working on this for months. And everything we get is under state contract, or we have to put out bids, so it'll be 3 of them. Yeah, we go by the law and do it the right way, but we do our research, and the ones that we need is different sizes for specific things. But right now, let's say my little small mower goes out, it not only affects West Hutchinson, Parkinson, East Hutchinson. Code enforcement uses it to cut by the dog pound, so it affects that. If one of my bigger mowers go out, I can't cut in some of the parks or by the interstate, by the island, so it's multiple things.
so you need an appropriation from the general fund to cover the cost of these mowers that you're
Yes.
asking for?
Yes.
Right, okay. Do you have those amounts with you?
No,
Okay,
I have them by the next, I have them for the next meeting.
okay, great.
All right.
Thank you.
Any questions?
Have you contacted Lumet with that request?
To buy mowers, Mr. Martin?
Yeah, I know we can use state contract, but sometimes you have cities that have these things in the multiple. Just call Cliff with Lumet and see what he can rig up.
I can call them and see if they got anything, but normally when they get rid of lawnmowers,
Yeah. Well-
it's the same ones we get rid of.
Step, I follow, I listen and I pay attention, I try to follow your advice, but on a mower, as much as we use them, I prefer to buy something new that I'm gonna have a warranty, that I'm gonna have some service, because when they start breaking, I'm spending $1,200, $1,800 a pop here and there for a different mower, so I prefer.
Mowers as well. They not only do used applications, but they sell new as well.
Oh, they sell new?
Yeah, for some, they sell new. They get the best bids. I mean, if I'm not mistaken, yeah, if we were talking about this, they want to see how many cities need the same thing. And instead of ordering, I'm sorry. They want to see how many cities need the same thing. Let's say if 20 cities need lawnmowers, they can go to Steel or what have you and say, look, we need 100 lawnmowers, okay? What's our price on that? And for the record, I have to say it, I'm on the board of Lumet, so it gets tiresome, but there's a law against that. But that's what they're doing now. Because I remember someone in North Louisiana, they had ordered something, Cliff was talking about it at one of our board meetings, where Crowley, let's say Crowley, Rain, Church Point decided they need weed eaters or what have you. Well, alone they might buy 3 apiece, but together they buy 20, I mean, check it out. It won't hurt to check it out.
All right, I will research it. The only question I will have is where I'm gonna buy it from and who's gonna service it. Do I have to drive somewhere? Cause right,
No, the service that, they have what they call a service detail information. Okay, in other words, they're gonna have a respondent coming to wherever they buy it from. No, that was already, established. Whoever you deal with, you have to supply services that dedicate, service. I see what you're saying.
Byron?
This not pertaining to what Mr. Jacob talking about. On behalf of the Southwest Association, Missionary Baptist Association, we had a conference here from June the 1st to June the 4th at the Jerusalem Baptist Church. The president is President Bonjar V. Wanted me to thank the mayor for opening up and welcoming the city of Crowley. I also want to thank Street Commissioner, Mr. Jacob, but most important, I want to thank his workers for their diligence and time they did to help our association for our 76th association anniversary. But they went above and beyond the call of duty to help out the association. And he thank you for opening up the city of Crowley. Did at Niece's, First Lady Mills Church. They ate everywhere in Crowley, really. But we had a good time. We praised the Lord. But more importantly, we had a fellowship. And that's what it's all about, fellowship, getting together, and just laughing. Laughing is good for the soul.
oh yeah.
So I want to thank y'all personally. I want to thank you, Honorable Mayor, for stepping up to the plate and helping out our association.
I was honored to be able to be there. I enjoyed that evening. It was a good evening.
And whenever you talk to your people, if they want breakfast or lunch, me and you get together, and I buy them breakfast or lunch, though.
Don't forget about me.
all right, I'm a little stunned. Just tell me what exactly did we do, because I'm stumped here. I don't know what we did.
Well, y'all cut the grass in a big lot across our church and stuff
Where they
like that.
parked by Jerusalem, yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, all
so-
right. Look, we always, matter of fact, they cut it today. We just finished construction, I'm glad you brought that up. Let me back up a little bit. We finally finished the project on 7th and Ross. I came to you last year and told you that the road had to be dug up. We waited till the school year ended at Head Start so we could close the road. Mr. Mayor gave us some new landmarks, dug up everything, and we routed the drainage back through. So the construction just finished, but with all that construction going on, we still had to find time to keep the grass up in the field. And that's part of what I'm saying is we're trying to do the best that we can do. And sometimes we'll get a call and say, hey, we got an event going on over here. Then we'll go back a little faster. But we try to do the right thing all the time.
Yeah, wasn't that a 48-inch that he was cutting with today? I think Robert was cutting the big field behind Ross Head Start with a 48-inch mower. And there was the big ones weren't available. They were cutting grass in other places, but yeah.
We try to do the right thing all the time. Not gonna make everybody happy all the time, but we try.
Sandra?
Yes, Wesley, thanks to you and your team for doing all that y'all do. I do have some calls from some concerned citizens regarding spraying 2,4-D. This was supposed to come up under another committee, but I was informed that it comes from your department. Spraying of the 2,4-D in parks or any other poisonous agents, and they ask for this practice to be discontinued as it is an unsafe agent for the, and if you could do weed eating or anything other than spraying poison, the citizens would appreciate that.
I'll answer some of that. It's not 2,4-D that they spray in the parks. 2,4-D is for broadleaf, and broadleaf grows in water, in wet conditions. It's Roundup that they've been spraying from time to time. They don't spray an entire park. I know the problem that is being complained about on East Seventh Street. And Wesley and I are gonna talk about it again, but it was a windy day, and so that's why it was noticed, because the spray didn't stay where it was supposed to be sprayed, and there was more dead grass than normal. There's only so many employees and so many weed eaters, and a whole lot to weed eat. So
I understand, Mayor, but I
they-
do want to say, I traveled to other parks and they did not do Roundup or 2,4-D. And Levy Park doesn't have it, the other parks don't have it, and this park doesn't need it either. It's a poisonous agent, and I know
Levy
you-
Park doesn't have sidewalks like that park has.
It doesn't matter.
The lawnmower's right over them.
It doesn't matter. They don't need to spray in the park, and that's
Well,
what the citizens.
that's been going on for many, many years, and
It's
we'll,
still a
we'll,
poisonous agent.
it
that's
is,
not
because
safe
it
to
kills
be-
grass, yes, ma'am.
And I'm very allergic to it, and we
Yes,
don't
ma'am.
need kids walking around there.
Yes, ma'am.
Plus, on the Roundup says, do not spray around children or adults. And if there's a drift, it's not a good practice. So I just want that to go on record, that we need to stop that practice.
It's on record.
Thank you. Any other questions? Wesley, I apologize for forgetting about you. It seemed like you were the star of the whole show. And if with
I
that-
work for y'all. I work for the people. I came into this job and I don't know everything, and like I told y'all, but I know this. When it comes to chemicals, that guy right there is down to the T of an ounce or microgram or whatever. And when we spray a park, we don't just spray one. Brent rides on a mule and sprays all of them at the same time. They might have not got to that one, but I mean, if the mayor and the council say don't spray it, we'll try to do our best. Now, if it gets out of hand, the weeds, then we'll try our best. But we're not spraying anything that's illegal, because it puts Albert's license at risk. We have to follow the law. And around sidewalks,
It puts the place Albert sleeps at risk. It could bring him from his house to the jail if it's done wrong. That's what it puts at
The
risk.
label is the law. As long as they're following the label instructions, it's legal. EPA wouldn't register a chemical if they thought it was a bad chemical. What probably happened, that was drift that the mayor was talking about. You just have to be aware of the surroundings at the time. You can't go out and put glyphosate up in the air when the wind's blowing 10 miles an hour, 8 miles an hour. You know, you gotta know how to spray,
And I also understand we only have so many weed eaters, but we have enough to go to all parks. We don't need to single any park out and say, we don't have weed eaters for 7th, 8th Street Park.
all right, so in closing on this subject, I'm gonna say it again, respectfully. We're gonna weed eat. There's times that we do spray, and they've been spraying since I've been there. This in particular time, we had somebody inexperienced. We were trying to teach them how to spray, and they messed up. All right, same way with the sidewalks that we did in the park at Martin Luther King Park. We tried our best. We failed miserably, and we're gonna have
Well,
to redo it.
that's a learning curve,
Yeah.
now we all know.
But again, and I think y'all know this is genuine, we're gonna do the best that we can, always. If we mess up, I'm gonna be the first one to say we messed up. But in this case, we didn't intentionally do anything. We was trying to teach somebody new, and it falls on me.
Appreciate it.
All right.
Yes, thank you, Wes, because I had the same concerns and complaint reported to me, and I will relay that information.
Zach and I talked, we was on the same page weeks ago, and I'm trying to get off the mic, but we communicate. We hear things. Zach called, reached out, hey, we got something going on in the parks. Yeah, we messed up, trying to teach somebody new. Same thing with Tim. We talk all the time. I get advice. So I'm telling y'all, this council, these department heads, we work together a lot. I ask all these guys for some advice at some point in time, and I'm always getting somebody on the phone, so I promise
We
you.
understand, it's all professional, but we also get pushback from our districts, and we would be remiss if we didn't address those issues.
Wes, I just have one question, just to make sure we're clear, because I did hear him say that that was the only park that we spray in. I want clarification, do you spray every park, or is that the only park we spray?
We spray every park.
Thank you.
Okay.
All right, any other questions? And if not, thank you, Wesley.
Hold on, I have one question. Y'all didn't vote on to go to the next council about do you have to vote on it or no?
Bring the numbers next week and they'll do it. We'll put it on the agenda for next week.
All right.
And with no further business to come before us, I will recess.
Oh, I'm sorry. Thank you, sir. I'm so shook up of the disrespect of singling out one park. It's ridiculous. Utility Committee, Mr. Martin, please, sir. Sure, yeah. Ms. Marks, if you would take utility, please.
Excuse me, Mayor, that's Dr. Marks. If we're going to talk about disrespect, let's talk about the elephant in the room.
Dr. Sandra F. Marks, D.C., Vice Chairman of Utility Committee, would you please go through the utility agenda?
Order. I'll take that back. What happened? Tell my district, well, leave that alone. I'll handle my committee. I can't believe you said somebody respect. Utility Committee convened myself. We do have a quorum present. Purpose of the meetings to be considered. Tim Crater, wastewater superintendent. Jesus Christ.
Good afternoon. Only a couple of things. We had 119 locate requests last month. Shows a decline in possible development in the city. 22 work orders were filed. We have 2 aerators that are down at the wastewater plant. We are having to locate a fabricator, which we have done, to fabricate parts for the machines. The company that we think is possibly out of business, after numerous emails and phone calls, we're unable to get in touch with them. We did find a vendor to fabricate the sleeves and bearings so we can get it back up and running. We pulled a pump out at 8th Street Lift Station. We're sending it to the factory so they can inspect it to see if it's burnt. We did put in a spare that we had. We will be getting a price once we find out if the one we're shipping off can be repaired. If it can, we'll weigh the odds on the repair cost and a new cost. What we're finding, there's a difference between $1,000, $2,000 on a new one and a rebuilt one. So we'll look at that going forward. Average cost of that pump will be between $15,000 and $20,000. That'll be a new pump. It's possible the rebuilt pumps are in that, close to that same range for that size pump. But other than that, that's all I really have. Any questions? All right, thank you.
I apologize. Okay, next, city engineer, Tim Mader.
Thank you, Step. I will turn your attention to page 12 of my report. In the middle of the page there, right next to the bold M in the left margin, I have council action. It's in regard to a funding application through Delta Regional Authority in their Community Infrastructure Fund program. I want to thank Katie especially and the mayor for persevering and finally getting to the point where we can apply for funds. If you'll turn to page 11, the previous page, in the middle of that page, you're going to see next to the bold E in the left margin, you're going to see phase 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And you'll see I've highlighted blue, phase 2 and 3, excavation of the east marsh, and 3 is upgrading the ammonia reduction unit. Just call your attention to measures that we're undergoing now to get funding for both of those projects, grant funding. On phase 2, the excavation of the east marsh, I'm showing there local, and because of the efforts that have been put forth just lately, you could change the word local to DRA, Delta Regional Authority. You see the asterisk there, double asterisk for phase 2 and the triple asterisk for phase 3. And underneath, you'll see a little more information about what those applications are going to involve in terms of local funding and the possibility that we may be able to get grants for those two important projects. We just received today the last correspondence I think we're going to get from DEQ that's going to set up a comprehensive plan. The city is going to be under a compliance order to put a series of projects in order over the next 3 or 4 years to address the new permit that just came out, which comes to us with more stringent regulations, more stringent requirements for treating wastewater at a higher level. And these projects will help us stay, I guess, ahead of the curve. Back on page 12, the council action would be to consider the resolution authorizing the submittal of an application for fiscal year 2025 DRA, Delta Regional Authority Community Infrastructure Fund grant application for the wastewater treatment plant.
I offered it as read. Second by Chuck. All in favor? Opposed have the same right? Motion passed. Thank you.
That's the only action item I have for the utility committee.
Okay. Anything else to come before utility committee?
Yes, I have discussion on if we're finished with Mr. Mader's business.
Okay.
It's just the update on the fluoride issue on the last meeting, May 28th, on Senate Bill 2, where it was heard in the House of Representatives Health and Welfare Committee. After lengthy discussion, the bill was deferred 10 to 5. It did not fail, but it won't be able to be heard until next year. So we have to wait until HHS Director Robert Kennedy on a federal level and see what happens there. The city will still have an ability to remove it at some point, but we can't rely on the state at this time. And that's my update. Thank you.
I'd like to concur with that. The word that I got, it will become a federal issue. Everybody just sit back and wait. I don't think we need to be spending money on something that it's like a pie in the sky right now, because they're going to eventually get rid of it. We just have to wait and see. So I appreciate that comment. Anything else to come before utilities? We recess.
Thank you, sir. Recreation, Alderman Ashby, please.
Recreation Committee will convene. We do have a quorum, and under our reports, we'll invite up Recreation Director Zach Duyong.
Hi, good evening. I wanted to start by saying thank you to Chuck Ashby and Mayor Monso for the opportunity. We went to Recreation Day at the Capitol last week, and got to visit with a lot of, I won't say coworkers, but acquaintances of the same affiliation, and we had a good time. So I wanted to make sure to tell them thank you again. Recreation or registration for soccer and flag football is now open. It's open through August 15th. Citizens can come into the office or come into the office or register online through Civic Rec. Again, that's through August 15th. Over the last 5 weekends, all of May and last weekend, we've had 259 teams coming to the city of Crowley. This is through 2D and our All-Star warm-up tournament. We had our All-Star warm-up tournament last week. It was Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. We'll be welcoming them back beginning tomorrow. It'll be Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and all day Saturday. And then for All-Stars, we have 7 total All-Star teams. Our sectional tournaments start this weekend. The girls will be in Kaplan, and we have 2 girls teams. They'll be in Kaplan, and 5 boys teams will be in Youngsville. And then also want to make a point to congratulate and thank Mr. Gil Paget. He'll be retiring on July 1st from the Recreation Department. After 3 years with the city of Crowley and multiple years in Broussard and, within the recreation realm. So if y'all see him, make sure to tell him thank you and congratulations. They'll be spending a lot of time fishing coming forward. So, any questions?
Something that we talk about a lot is the travel ball players and the soccer teams and all of that. And I just want to mention that there are many other groups that take advantage of our recreation department, not take advantage, but use it. And I got the very sweetest note from a group of pickleball players who said, "I want to let you know how grateful we are to the staff at the Rice Festival building. We appreciate them so much. Even if they are setting up for an event, they try to give us a court on another end. They're very welcoming. They hear our laughter and they can see how much fun this is and how meaningful it is for us. And they just wanted to let you and your staff know how much they appreciate you, and we do as well. We forget to talk about all the things that you do, so thanks."
Yes, ma'am. Thank you very much for that. It's much appreciated.
Go ahead, Step.
What's the rundown on the stadiums? Mayor, I know we had talked about it, but the stadiums over at the bleachers, I'm sorry, not stadium, bleachers at the MLK. Mayor, from seeing what happened the last Monday, I think that it's incumbent on this council to approve to take those things out right now, because they're starting to be a bother. These kids are jumping on them and they're falling, and we had appropriation of smaller kids, Chief, if you remember. I mean, it was, I want to say maybe 20 or 30 kids, maybe 5 and under. So they were not being in the way, but when kids tried to jump on the stadium, you see, and they didn't make it, well, they're coming down on these kids. So I think it's incumbent on us to get those out of there, and we definitely going to be welcoming the new ones when they get there. Just want to give you a heads up on it.
Yes, sir. And still that delivery and installation date is looking like November 10th. But in the meantime, if that's something like you said, if the council agrees on that, then I mean we can go ahead and start with taking them out and then cleaning up, because that gives us actually more time to see what we need to do wall and floor wise to prepare for the new bleachers.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah, I mean, we can talk with, and talk with Brian and Marcus and Shane and make sure, they run the place, and so they know a lot of what's going on also. But I mean, I don't have no problem with taking them out. I don't think they're used a whole lot anymore because they're so hard to pull in and out. I know I've asked Zach, if you noticed, all of the tape is gone from the floors. Some of the tape was just pulled up. It was there for so long, and so the recreation employees went in, pulled all the tape up, and went back with some alcohol or something and got all the glue, because the glue is up. I'd like to get to a point where we can strip and wax those floors, clean them up again, and then we can put the basketball court tape back down, some good stuff back down. But I mean, if we get those bleachers out of there before we strip and wax the floor, that'll even be better, because we can get to that part too.
But with that, if I'm not mistaken, Mayor, when the floors were first put down, it was a wooden floor at first, and then the hurricane came. I don't know what the epoxy on that was so bad that you really couldn't play basketball, because I mean, it was a lot of slipping. And with the cold weather, it was the same thing. You had to keep the AC running just to keep it from sweating.
Them wood floors was before me.
Yeah, well, hey, they were there from a bunch
That
of
was
us.
that was a few days ago,
Yeah,
I
I think
guess.
that might have been, oh man, I want to think in the 70s. But anyway, if we can get that done, and then that'll give us an idea how much room we got to work with the kids. All right, thank you.
Thank you, Step. I thought you had told me you were born in '74, but maybe I was wrong. Thank you, Zach. Troy, you need something?
Yeah, I
Go
wanted
ahead.
to
we're looking at having a splash day, and we'd like to do it at, C.W. Edwards Park. I don't think the water's turned on right now, I did see a lot of cleanup going
Yes.
on out there at the ballparks in the back, and that's really great. We're really
Yes, so we
glad
can,
to see that. As from a police standpoint, we're glad it's all cleared out, because
Yeah.
we were having issues way back there in the back with some kids.
so for those of you who don't know, CW Edwards Park is next to Shady Oaks. And there was a baseball field, like many parks, they had baseball fields at just about every park. And that baseball field, there were trees as tall as this building that had grown into the fence line. The entire fence line was trees. You couldn't see the dugouts, you couldn't see the fence, you couldn't see the baseball park. Although the baseball park was cut, the grass was cut, but it was literally a haven for crime. Police department, had problems back there. And so, one of our contractor that we just renewed the contract on, has a larger, we started to do it with the street department. Wesley went out there and his guys, and but our machine wasn't big enough to pull some of those trees out. And so it looked like we started something and just forgot about it, but it just took time to get back to it. And Mikey has donated his time. He rented a larger machine for the month for a different job, and he wasn't using it, so he went out there on his own time, didn't charge us anything, and he pulled out the fencing and the trees from around the ballpark, and now the entire park is just wide open and you can see all the way across it. So that will help, as the chief says, with the police department and criminal activity back there. But we also had a neighbor that came over, and she says, "What's going on?" And I told her, I said, "We're just trying to clean up. It's just taking a little while, but all this tree line." And she says, "This is like a dream come true." I said, "Well, I'm glad you like it, because it's going to look good, but we can look at the water line and see what it's going to take to add. I think every park still has a water meter in it. Many of them are no longer turned on because the water fountains and all of that have been from
It still
years.
does have the meter. I went and looked. The meter's still intact.
We can get
I'm
a
not sure
plumber.
where the lines go, but
Right.
I did see where one of them comes out, and I may go out there and hook a faucet to it for that day
See
if
if
we have to.
Yeah.
Also,
Zach, if you don't mind, have maybe if you can go check to make sure, if we need to, get a plumber to go and make sure we got water out
and
there.
the restrooms also. I know they don't have any out there, but were y'all using some portable ones for the baseball parks, or y'all were renting that or something?
For the baseball parks at each one of the public parks?
Yes. Or even, I noticed one time you even had like a mobile unit.
That was all
yes.
rented. Yeah.
It's a lot to rent.
Oh yeah, they're high. They're high. We can get a couple of portalets to put out there for that event. Yeah.
And worst case scenario, maybe we can get the fire department to spray the stuff down with water, and maybe we can go from there. We're just trying to offer something to the kids.
No, we need to put a
around
water
that,
line.
that area that can't walk,
Yeah.
different spots of the city. We'd like to do something, law enforcement with our
Chief,
unit.
what's the date on that?
We hadn't come up with a date just yet.
Okay.
But we are working on
Yeah.
picking a date. I just wanted to make sure that we can use it, and also that, we can, fit our needs for it,
Yep.
Okay.
Also,
That's big.
The skate center's going really well. We had well over 100 kids Monday. I definitely want to thank the mayor and Alderman Ashby for the donation, and also Mr. Tim. He donated a lot of gift cards to those kids, and what we do, we have little raffles in there. We'll pass out tickets to the kids, and we'll have some drawings in there, and they win, the little gift cards, and sometimes some other stuff that's brought. And they're really excited to win it, man. It just keeps growing. It looks like it's going really well. And it's definitely something our youth it needs. We able to spot kids that are really having trouble.
Very
and
well
when
attended.
when you start looking into it, it really gets deep. There's a lot of problems with our youth that definitely need to be fixed. And, one thing that I noticed, we had issues with one kid that was very, really struggles with anger management. And the more that I looked into it, I found out he goes to alternative school. And then when you start digging even deeper, that alternative school now is like twice a week that they actually go to school. The rest of the time is at home. So they're not getting out there and mingling amongst the people. So you can see where it's creating a problem. They have no social skills. And we hurting those kids more than we helping them. And we really need to come up with some answers.
That's the crazy part as well. Chief, I'm glad you brought that up. And Byron, I want to thank you as well for your donations. I know, there's been struggles going on and you can't make it out there, but we let the kids know that we're there to help them. And the kid that Chief is talking about, man, this guy get to a point where he just shut himself down, man. Anybody that tells him anything, you're bothering him. He'll lash out at you in a minute. But we take the time with him and, walk around with him. But like Chief said, we need some help out there, man. And we'll talk about it more when we get to public buildings. But what we're going to be asking for is not a lot. If you believe in the kids. And the good part about it, man, we're starting to have so many adults come in. That's a good thing.
Anything family, I think we ought to look at, splash pads for the, family, anything family oriented, to get our family back involved with our youth. We should be putting our money there. I would like y'all really all to try to think of different things that we can do to make it, the city more family oriented. You'll see it go a long ways, especially, help dealing with the violence and everything that we have. The more that they can play together in a safe manner, the more that they can learn.
We even have, the room is a special room where special kids go. And I don't mean special kids. If you're an athlete in the city of Crowley, that's your, what we call it, Chief, their little sanctuary. And they actually turn kids away. You don't play ball, you can't come in here. They got ladies as well, So we're getting to a point where we're starting to touch these kids, but like I say, we are reiterating on a little further in Barnes. But once again, what we're asking, if we're going to take care of these kids, we got to start there, buddy. Because Chief had to tell me, he said, because what I told him, Chief, you ain't never coming back here. And Chief pulled me to the side and he told me, said, Steph, that's the one we need to help right there. And he's a case, a work in progress, but guess what? He's starting to learn that everything is not yours and everything is not for you. Okay, because at one time they were eating and he was like, and I don't know if you noticed that, Chief, you went sat in the corner and ate. I said, what are you doing? He said, well, that's what they make me do at my house. I said, oh, man. But anyway, we'll talk about it.
Thank y'all so much for what y'all do with those kids there. That's and you're right, Troy. I mean, the cities that are growing is the cities that do things for families. When people are looking for a place to move, that's the first thing they look for. What's there for my kids? Zach, thank you. I know this isn't on the agenda. I'm just going to put it on your plate. Make sure that I say it on the mic. Hopefully this is the last year that one of our local high schools plays their alumni tournament in rain. It's driving me bananas that we can't even host our own high school alumni tournaments. So please, let's figure out what we need to do to bring those fundraisers back to Crowley, where we have a state-of-the-art facility that our people's tax dollars pay for, and we don't even let them use it.
We need to get together and go meet with them and figure out what we can do to help that.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Zach. Appreciate you.
Hey, that was a good year. That's when I was born.
All right, Zach, thank you.
Thank y'all for your time.
Next up, City Engineer Tim Mader.
Only updates, no action items.
All right, and we already had the discussion item about the 2,4-D and discussed it, so there's nothing else to come before my committee. The committee rests.
Thank you, sir. Zoning annexation, Alderman Reggie, please.
Thank you. Zoning Annexation Committee will convene. I do have a quorum, and I will start with Mr. Tim Mader, please.
Again, only updates, no action items.
and I have no action items and no discussion items. Anything to come before zoning and annexation? I will recess.
Thank you, sir. Public Safety, Alderman Core, please.
Thank you, Mayor. I'd like to call to order the Public Safety Committee meeting. We have quorum present with all members in attendance, and we begin with reports. First from Chief of Police Troy Hebert.
In the month of May, our officers answered 784 calls in the month of May, which is still considerably down. We are seeing a trend of calls being down each year, so that's really a good sign that we are headed in the right direction. We did have a little bit of increase in burglaries, and I can tell you, you know, our traffic detail, we moved most of them on the interstate because we're still unable to control the speeders that are traveling on I-10. And by doing that, we also noticed that we did have an increase in the burglaries due to us not being visible in the city with more of them on the interstate. So we will be making some minor adjustments there to help deal with that moving forward. There still is solutions to do it without having to beat it up that hard in traffic that I'm working diligently on to try to get done as fast as possible. Traffic violations, they issued 142 from patrol. And the traffic enforcement detail, they wrote 1,279 citations for the month of May. Also, we had 64 criminal arrests. I was able to speak this morning with the prosecutor in reference to the problem that we've been having on F.L. Johnson and stuff. I let him know that the neighbors were really upset with what's going on in the area. I just wanted them to know that our citizens were very upset with what's been going on to where he can address it. The court date was today on that matter. And they did continue it to the next one. You know, a person does have a right to plead not guilty, and then they give him a trial date. But he will be taking it very seriously when it does come up, he told me. That's pretty much all I have, unless y'all have any questions.
Any questions for Chief? Mr. Martin.
I just want to expunge on that situation this morning. I had to go to the burn unit, and as I was driving, my mind was on, you know, what would I say when I got there? And I pretty much came up with a saying that was told to me a long time ago. People don't have to be nice to you, but people have to respect what you have. I say it again. People don't have to be nice to you, but they have to respect what you have. If you done paid your dues and have a nice home and manicured lawn, nobody has the right to come on your property, cause chaos around your property, making you uncomfortable for just being yourself, not being able to sit on your porch. We have a nuisance law in the city. You know, Mike, I hope that you researched it, but I remember when this was brought up, it was because there was a club, not even a club, it was a store that, I don't want to give the location, but it became a nuisance because many times as we asked them to do this and that, they've done exactly what they wanted to do. But I was so disappointed when it was pushed off. I mean, you could tell the look on Ms. Young's face. I thought we had to throw cold water on Byron for a minute. I mean, but it is what it is. Everybody deserves the right to be comfortable. Okay, if someone is making you uncomfortable, that's when, whether you call 911 or 783-1234, whatever it may be, the law is there to protect not only that person, but you as well. So I just want to put that statement. I would have made it this morning had we had the trial, but I just want to pass that on. Thank you. And thank y'all for being there this morning.
Thank you, Step. Any other comments or questions for Chief? Then we'll move on to our Fire Chief report from Chief Louis Romero.
Good evening. For me, The fire department responded to 48 calls, of which 5 was hazardous conditions, 33 EMS calls, 6 false alarm or fire alarm calls, 2 structure fires, 2 good intent calls, for a total response, average response time for May was 2 minutes and 54 seconds. And so far in 2025, we ran 302 calls. Give you an update, North Crowley Fire Station's probably, I would say 75% complete. My estimated time of getting them back into that station could probably be the end of July, beginning of August. Anybody got any questions?
Yes, Chief, we had talked about the number of EMS calls that the fire department has to attend to, and I think you said you were gonna look into that to see if your services were actually needed for those calls, or if that should be related to the ambulance services that cover Crowley.
Me and the mayor met with Acadian Ambulance yesterday for lunch, thanks to Councilman Morton's contact. And we discussed some issues. I've got a plan that we're gonna put together, and I'm gonna present it to Miss Mary at 911 so she can go over it with our dispatchers. And I think we'll be able to fix some of the problem. Then I gotta meet with MedExpress. So the ball's rolling on that.
Okay, thank you. Any questions for Chief? Step?
You know, Chief, what made me not really get involved, because we all work together for the betterment of the city of Crowley. I remember something went down in Lafayette when they had something like that going on. And basically, for those who don't know, the fire department answers a lot of calls. But I'm hoping that y'all can pick and choose whether y'all need Acadian, y'all to be there. Yeah, it might be somebody that might have got hit on a bike. The fire department don't need to be, I'm just using my words, okay? If it's not bad enough, why send the fire department to go over there when hopefully Acadian Ambulance can do it? So that's the gist of what we discussed. And Troy told me you had a real good meeting.
We did. We
That's a blessing
really
right there.
did have a
Yeah,
good
we
conversation.
Appreciate everybody taking part in it. Thank y'all.
Thank you, Step. Anything else for Chief?
Mr. Mayor, after we finish this, can I request that insurance and personnel go next? Because I got another meeting at 6:30.
Yeah, yes.
I think we got one more item to come up for on this committee.
Yes. Yeah, we'll do insurance and personnel after this.
Okay, next, City Inspector Tony Duhan, who is not present. Do we have a report in our packets? Or did he email? Oh, okay.
Yeah, it should be in the package.
I just popped up. Under animal control, 10 calls for dead animals, 16 calls for cats, 36 calls for dogs, 2 animal bites, 9 calls for animal traps, and 1 animal cruelty case. There were 9 dogs taken in, of which 6 were rehomed or cleaned by the owner, 10 cats taken in, and 6 of those rehomed. 2 citations with 4 different charges, 11 cats in the shelter, 18 dogs in the shelter, 5 animals spayed or neutered. Under code enforcement, 40 tall grass violations, 1 dead diseased tree, 2 junk cars, and 2 trash rubbish. There have been 26 tall grass properties that have been cut, with 33 scheduled to be cut. 12 houses demoed from Blight Court hearing located at 504, 506, 510, and 512 Span Avenue, 526 West 6th Street, 1313 West 7th Street, 1317 East Pine Street, 610 Mansfield Avenue, 715 and a half West 5th Street, 618 North Avenue E, 1228 West 7th Street, 820 West Fifth Street with 517 East Elm Street scheduled for demo. Under flood management inspection on project located in flood zone, located at 525 Southeastern Avenue and Stymus Retail Building on Rice Capitol Parkway. Permits, 28 electrical, 2 gas, 5 plumbing, 1 mechanical, and 2 new construction, which included Dollar General and Stymus Retail Building. On the planning and zoning, had conversations with future businesses and development, stormwater management, perform monthly inspections, contact us if any further information is needed. Respectfully, Tony Duhon, City Inspector. And that will complete his report. Under action items, we have none. Under discussion items, first draft of ordinance and registration form related to residential rental property for consideration by the committee. In response to the growing number of blighted properties in our city, I have been developing a healthy homes program focused on residential rental properties. Nearly half of Crowley residents live in rental housing. Through my work and observations in the real estate market, I've seen firsthand that many of these tenant-occupied properties are not being routinely maintained. As a result, they often fall into disrepair, become unsafe, uninhabitable, and eventually blighted. As we all understand, blighted properties have a serious impact on overall quality of life in our city. They diminish neighborhood appeal, discourage residents and businesses from coming here, and contribute to a decline in property values. This ultimately leads to population loss and reduced tax revenue, resources that are critical to funding city departments and serving the needs of the constituents we represent. The proposed ordinance serves 2 purposes. 1, to protect the health, safety, and welfare of our community by ensuring all residents of Crowley have access to safe and habitable housing. And 2, to prevent rental dwellings from deteriorating into blight through proactive standards and oversight. This would be achieved by requiring rental property registration, ensuring safe and livable housing conditions, and empowering tenants to report violations directly to the city. You each have a copy of the initial draft of the ordinance, as well as a draft of the rental property registration application. Copies have also been provided to the mayor and the city attorney. Please take time to review these documents ahead of next month's committee meeting. I plan to place this on the July agenda for discussion and will welcome your feedback, comments, or suggestions at that time. Thank you. Is there any other business to come before the Public Safety Committee? Oh, I'm sorry, we have Ms. Richard, you'd like to address the committee?
Yes. Do I need to fill out a card or anything?
Not for committees.
Okay, give me just a second. I wasn't sure if I'd be allowed to speak this evening. Good evening. My name's Teresa Richard, and I've been here a few times. I live at 1005 East 7th Street here in the city of Crowley. On September 11, 2011, a little baby named Micah Johnny and another little girl named Tajay Robinson, age 4, died in a rental fire here in the city of Crowley. There were no active working smoke detectors. On June 7, 2012, my daughter, Marie McDonald, and her daughter, my granddaughter, Bailey, died in a house fire here in Crowley. There were no working smoke detectors. It was a rental property. There was no inspection on this rental property, no insurance requirements, and no basic safety standards. On August 19, 2019, Lawrence Robinson, age 70, died in another rental fire. Again, no evidence of functioning smoke detectors. And today, nothing has changed to prevent it from continuing and to happen again to another family. According to the most recent census, half of Crowley's population lives in rental units, and Crowley has a known, documented pattern of people, mostly small children, dying in rental homes with no safety oversight, making our fire death rate here in the city of Crowley more than 3 times the national average. And while residents like me have been here begging this council for accountability with regards to code enforcement and these blighted properties and this unsafe living conditions, what did this council choose to move quickly on? Raising the rates for public records to make it harder for people like me to investigate what is actually happening inside of these deadly homes. It shouldn't be easier here in Crowley to rent out a death trap than it is to request public records about it. Shouldn't be easier. So tonight I'm asking this council, with the full weight of what my family and I have lived through, please send a rental registration ordinance to the full council for introduction and begin the process of adoption. Pass a rental registration ordinance, enforce safety standards, and show the citizens of this city that you serve the public and not slumlords. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Richard. Anything else further come before the committee?
Brad.
Brad, one other thing we might want to consider, and we need to look into all of it, but we could adopt the International Property Maintenance Code, which a lot of municipalities have adopted.
Yes.
You know, that's part of the International Building Code, and so I think that's another option that we could look at. It's uniform, it's applied, certainly not in every municipality, but in a lot of them, and a lot of them have adopted it as part of their building code. And so I think that's another option that we could look at.
That'd be great. In fact, that's why, if you will see, some of the items are highlighted in gray that, for input of that information. And Mr. Landry, if you would please assist in that endeavor to get the proper language within the ordinance.
Absolutely, and I've looked at it, I've kind of shared some initial comments with you,
Yes.
and I was actually looking at it this afternoon. I mean, I think we do have to work on it. You know, what we don't want to do is pass something that we can't enforce or that doesn't have the intended effect. And so we just want to make sure that we tailor it properly so that it'll have the desired impact that we want it to have. And so we'll definitely give it our full attention and consider the property management code as well.
That'd be great. Thank you so much. Step.
It was brought up to the council years ago to pass it. But at the time, we had a few council members that didn't think it was our business. Not calling names, but those were the words. Okay? That's none of our business. We can't tell people how to do with their property. But Mike, I'm sure glad you brought that up because I forgot there is literature. But if I'm not mistaken, but each municipality has to cook it to their taste, correct?
I mean, it certainly, you certainly can. I mean, it's meant to be broadly applied. So, I mean, Louisiana Construction Code Commission has, they adopt rules and they make amendments to all those international building codes as well. State law actually mandates that all municipalities adopt, well, let me back up. State law has a uniform construction code.
Right.
And the Uniform Construction Code is simply a portion of the International Building Code that's been adopted by the state of Louisiana. And that's actually what we all adhere to. The International Property Maintenance Code is not necessarily part of that, but it can be made part of that for our purposes.
And if I'm not mistaken, it was Gil Pinack, Representative Gil Pinack from Crowley. He the one introduced that bill. And he made a lot of people in the state mad, but a lot of them. Thank you on that, man.
Where can we go and read about that? I'd like to read more about it before.
Google where you find all the information.
I just
No, I
want
mean,
to, I'm not disagreeing.
In all seriousness, I mean, if you Google the International Property Maintenance Code, you can find a copy of it online. And I mean, look, it's long, it's voluminous, and the terminology is a little different and towards what Mr. Martin was saying about tailoring it to the city. You can change some of the verbiage without actually changing the substance of it to meet your requirements. In other words, if it talks about a board and we have a council, or if it talks about an enforcement agent, and our terminology in our ordinance would be, you know, code enforcement, you can just go through it and substitute those words so that it fits our model ordinances. But it's available online if you want to look at it.
I'll try to get you to give me some bullet points. I mean, the last thing I just want to make sure, and I'm not disagreeing with Ms. Teresa said that there are some slumlords, but are we looking at fighting a few slumlords that don't take care of their properties, but we're causing another 1,000 people that own properties to go through a whole bunch of more loopholes to take care of their properties that they're already doing?
And that's part of, not that specifically, but in general, when you pass a bit of legislation, whether it's a municipal ordinance or state legislation or whatever it is you pass, you have to consider its broad impact on everything. And so, the last thing you want to do is enact something that you either can't enforce or has unintended consequences. And I think that's why we just have to take a deep dive into it and really look and exhaust all our options and make sure that we're doing the right thing. I mean, something's necessary or something may be necessary. We just want to make sure that we do the right thing.
Specific to Crowley, that could be in the contract, that every that CO that goes out, certificate of occupancy, you must have a working a firearm, okay, and subject to testing maybe 4 times a year. We can put that in. That's why I said depends on what kind of gumbo you want, but that's something. But last time, like I said, everybody fought it. Tell them stay out of people's business.
It's just tough for people that own properties because the laws right now are set up so much for the tenant and against the landlord now. You can't evict somebody any faster than 45 days. That's 45 days of a tenant not paying rent already. But now we're trying to set more laws up that the tenant's even in a safer spot than they are now. And it's making it a lot harder on landlords in a city where you have 50% rentals.
And I see the chief up there. Chief, at some point, didn't the fire department or fire marshal's office give out smoke detectors?
If they come to the fire station right now and fill out an application, we go through the process. Once it's approved, the firefighters will go to the homes and install the smoke detectors. And then we got a program in 10 years. We go take the old smoke detector off and put the new smoke detector back up.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, and keep in mind that, what's been drafted is just a working draft. It's been assembled from different cities. Mrs. Teresa Richard helped with providing some information on information she found. So, that's why I don't want to discuss it now, because until you've had a month to review it, make changes, suggestions, we can discuss that at length at next month's meeting.
So Brad, first of all, I want to thank you for helping get this moving. It's something that has been talked about, but you definitely helped to get it started. I agree that it's something that we need to do. It's not a popular topic. It's not going to be a popular topic, as you can tell by some of the comments in the council room today, because we do have some property owners who take care of their property.
Absolutely.
I actually already, this is fresh on the newspaper. Saturday it's going to be on the newspaper. It hasn't been public yet, but a few people have known that this was going to come up. And I got a phone call from a property owner. And he says, what's this I hear that we're going to have a renter registration and rental property is going to have to pay a fee to register and all this other stuff. I said, hold on a minute. I said there's if I have it my way, there's no extra fees. This is an accountability process. It's all it is an accountability process. And I told him, I said, be honest with you, you don't have to worry about it. Fill out the paperwork, sign that what this says that you agree that you have this in your homes, and turn it into City Hall. It's over with. Cost you a little ink. I'll let you use my ink pen. Don't cost you an ink pen either. I mean, it's not something to burden property owners, and those property owners who take care of their property are going to be against it. I want to warn y'all, they will be against it, along with those who do not take care of their property. But I have been working diligently behind the scenes because some of the things are just not able to be discussed in the public just yet. But code enforcement is probably one of the top 5 situations or departments in our city. Code enforcement, in my opinion, is directly contributes to the economy. Our city, I was talking with Alderman Lachele earlier today. South Crowley, for example. I lived in South Crowley many years ago. There were many more neighborhoods in South Crowley that people wanted to live in than there are today. And I'm just being honest with you. There were many more homes throughout this city that people wanted to live in next door to or across the street from than there are today. Many more. For so many years, our city has neglected code enforcement. We've just turned our heads to it. And we haven't made sure that property owners cut their grass. We haven't made sure that property owners keep their... There's an ordinance, there's law in this city that requires you to have paint on your house. It doesn't matter what color it is, but it can't be bare wood. You're required to have paint on your home. But we don't enforce none of these codes. And we haven't for a very long time. Since I've been in office 2.5 years, we've worked on a lot of details, a lot of things. Doesn't all show on the street, riding up and down the streets just yet, but operations-wise, we've worked on a lot of things. Code enforcement is the next big thing, and we have big things coming, I promise you. We have to require our people, our property owners, many of them moved away, they don't even live here no more. I had a man call me the other day, because those letters are going out now. I'm pushing code enforcement more than ever. Mike is getting more phone calls from code enforcement to help with legal issues in code enforcement than ever. I don't know how he has time to do his private practice. But I had a gentleman call me and tell me that, he's got this letter, he lives in Texas, and his yard, his lot, and he owns this, and his parents used to this, and he used to that. And I said, sir, I'll tell you that none of that matters to me except you cleaning your property. Because it's not fair for the people who have to live in the neighborhood next to that property that you forgot about while you living in Texas. So I said, no excuse is worth it for me. I'm not being ugly, but no excuse is worth it for me. You have to clean your property. And I went out there and met him, and then he tells me they found a tree laying in the grass, but yet he tells me they've been taking care of his property. I said, well, how did you find a tree? An oak tree, a huge oak tree he found in the grass on his lot. Well, you wasn't taking care of your property. If you found an oak tree laying there from a hurricane years ago, that's what we're dealing with today. It's going, 2.5 years seems like eternity because we've been dealing with it for so many years. But I promise you, we are making progress. The next problem we're creating, as Mike said, you got to watch what you do because you might create more problems. And one of the problems we're creating is with the blighted property, a lot of these property owners are starting to take initiative and tear down their own properties. And they're stacking it at the road. And so the parish couldn't keep up with it before they was tearing houses down. And now they're tearing houses down themselves and stacking them at the road. And as Wesley said just earlier, we don't have an employee dedicated to that truck. My hopes are to get to that eventually. But Wesley goes out, I go out, we send the employees out. Rainy days, we try to get them to do that, and we haul it to the landfill. But things are happening. It kind of looks like more of a mess right now because there's so much trash and debris being piled up at the roadway. But in time, that's going to clear out too. It's going to take some time. I am not interested in being the mayor long enough to see the fruits of those trees that we're planting today. I'm just not, okay? But I'm not giving up, but the point is that it's going to take some time to see a lot of this progress. But we have to start somewhere. And code enforcement is probably one of the most important things that we have to work on right now. And I promise you, there's some things in the works right now that I think you'll all be happy with soon. And so I ask you to please be serious when we talk about code enforcement, because that is directly in line with economic development in our city. We can't get people to move to our city in these neighborhoods. And we can't continue to allow these people, like Mr. Martin mentioned earlier and someone else might mention, next door, they keep their grass cut, man, the ditch is clean and manicured lawn, and then next door to them is tall grass and a house that should have been torn down 20 years ago. It's unfair to these people. It's just as unfair. So please, when something comes up for code enforcement, please take it serious. Put some real deep thought into it. Thank you,
Mayor. Anything else? Chief, did you have something? Then the committee recesses.
Thank you, sir. If we can go to insurance and personnel, Dr. Marks, insurance and personnel, please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The Insurance and Personnel Committee opens at this time. We do have a full quorum. There are no reports. We'll hear at this time from Fire Chief Romero.
So, I've got an investigation open on one of my captains, and I'm gonna need a 60-day extension. Unlike the police department, they have to go to civil service themselves. Fire department has to come to the governing body, and only the governing body can grant me an extension. So, because of my vacation that's planned, his shift schedule, I'm not going to be able to finish the investigation completely within the first 60 days. But I'm asking for a 60-day extension.
Okay, Chief, thank you. I so move that we extend a 60-day extension. Second by Katie Chasson, Alderwoman Katie Chasson. All in favor? You want to I'm sorry, sir?
The authority is on the council. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
More discussion? Any more discussion?
It's the governing authority, yeah.
Any more discussion? All in favor? Passed.
Thank y'all.
There's no further action items, just a discussion item. I just wanted to point out under the ordinance, Article 1, General 2-4, thank all the council people for putting in their agenda items in writing, and also if you need to withdraw them in writing, and that's in the Muni Code that you can have for your reading. If there's no further business to come before the committee recesses.
Thank you, ma'am. Public Buildings, Alderman Woolridge, please.
Public buildings convened June the 10th. We have a quorum present. On the reports, there was none. I seen Ms. Shepherd in the audience. I don't know if she left or not, though. I don't know. Oh, Ms. Shepherd, you? Okay, I can see her back there. Ms. Janetta Shepherd is requesting the city of Crowley co-sponsor the Homeland Crowley Day Picnic by waiving the fees for use of building for that day. And I don't know what day you're talking about right now, Ms. What day are you talking about?
Ms. Shepherd, if you want to push the green button and turn the microphone on. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Good evening. I'm Jeanette Shepherd. I'm a member of Homeland Civic and Social Organization. We will be celebrating our 23rd annual Crowley Day Dance and Picnic. In the past, the city have always co-sponsored the Sunday, which is the Sunday before Labor Day, for our picnic for the families and friends in West Crowley. We are a organization that's connected to Crowley citizens in Oakland, California, and Crowley citizens in Houston, Texas, where we get together and celebrate. We just recently celebrated in Houston on Memorial Weekend, and every Labor Day weekend we do it here, and the council have supported us and sponsored the Sunday by allowing us to have the picnic on the grounds. We take care of the grounds we leave. It's usually held from 10 to 6 p.m. in the afternoon. So we're asking again, the city would do this.
Chair.
Come up every year.
Chair.
What'd you say, Chief?
On the agenda, the building is not identified. I'm assuming this would be the
MLK.
MLK? Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And what'd you say, Chief? No drinking allowed?
And what is the date?
It's a Labor Day weekend. I think it's the 30th. But it's the Sunday. The Saturday we pay for the use of the premises. It's a Saturday.
So
But the Sunday, the city co-sponsor.
That would be August 31st, yes.
Okay, thank you.
And I have, her and Tessa have been communicating, and of course I called her just the other day. You can all approve the use of the building and co-sponsoring the Sunday. They rent the building on the Saturday, and so they rent the building on the Saturday, and they're asking to co-sponsor the Sunday
Yes.
for the picnic day. And we're working with them to get the proper paperwork for the 501c3. It has to be a nonprofit for us to co-sponsor.
Right.
And so we're working with her to get that stuff. So you can approve it contingent on the paperwork.
And like I said, this will be our 23rd year.
Yes, ma'am.
You
Well,
got
Mayor,
doing this.
Chair,
understand there's no drinking in the park? But, Ms. Shepherd, you understand there's no drinking in the park unless it's approved?
Oh, yeah, for the picnic, no, we have, no, not for the picnic, no, and the Saturday night, we have the police.
Adult beverages,
supervision,
right,
and
right.
Yeah, that's
we
Yes,
get the
Saturday.
insurance and everything.
But not on Sunday. If we co-sponsor, you can't have any alcoholic beverages.
Okay,
All right. I'll make a motion to approve the use of the MLK Center on Sunday, August 31st, for the Homeland Crowley Picnic Day.
It was motioned by Alderman Bragg, second by Alderman Latchley. All in favor?
Aye.
Nays? You got the same right?
I have to do an extension since I'm part of Homeland as well, so I don't think I'm on the committee.
No, you're not.
That being said, motion carried. Let's move.
All right, Janelle, thank you.
okay, thank you all.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you for coming, Mr. Knight.
Number 2, payment request number 7 to Prestigious Construction Group in the amount of $62,378 for the Park and Pavilion in downtown Crowley, Foxtrot Papa Charlie, project number 50-Mike 58-22-01. Motion carried? And make a motion?
So, let me let y'all know this, that, a couple of things. I wish, if y'all want to go to the discussion item first, and then you can come to the payment request, but, I do want to say this, and these payment requests, once they're approved by the architect and/or the engineers, whenever Mr. Mader approves them for his projects, the council has approved the spending of the funds for the project, the total spending of the funds. We can't deny making the payments that the architects and our engineers say is due. I understand that there's some hesitation, and I think the contractor, he's here tonight, I think he'll be able to explain that, what the, and hopefully help you with your concerns, but legally, we can't deny these payments. So we'll go ahead to the discussion item if you want to do that, Mr. Barnum. It's your meeting, but if you want to do the discussion item, that way y'all can get that out of the way.
On the discussion, I prestigious contract group to provide status update on the pavilion. You come up, sir, to the mic.
And please push the green button, and it'll turn the microphone on.
Go ahead, sir.
Good evening.
Say your name and where you from.
I'm Jordan Lewis. I'm a project manager for Prestige Construction Group. As of last week, all underground electrical, plumbing, and sewer have been completed. The reason you are not seeing concrete on the ground just yet, we've had some issues with the building vendor that have been corrected now. They're waiting on final building drawings to move forward with the foundation layout. So we have not been approved to pour that just yet.
Just an FYI for y'all to look at while you're discussing and talking about this. The pack of paperwork in your packet that says City of Crowley meeting smart sheet, that is the timeline, if you will, of what should take place when and what has taken place and going forward also, if you want to look at that.
Councilman Morton.
Okay, repeat what you just said about your concrete vendor.
Sir?
You just mentioned that the reason for the delays, and I had a chance to look at the grounds, and by the way, I'm in that type of business, sort of speaking. I've never in my life ever heard the reason that you just proposed to this council. Because first of all, whenever you do a bid, your contract's supposed to be sealed. Okay, what I mean by sealed is that they're confirmed. You don't do a bid without having everything confirmed. So you telling me that y'all done a bid, but yet you had no confinement on the price of concrete, the price of labor for this job? Is that what you're saying?
Okay, so my name is Dave White. I'm one of the owners of Prestige Construction.
Okay, nice to meet you.
So let me address that.
Do that,
He's
please.
not saying that we have a problem with the concrete subcontractor. We had a problem with the building subcontractor. The building subcontractor that we purchased the building from filed for bankruptcy. So we had to pivot to a different building contractor. You cannot, with these engineered buildings, you have to have the engineered drawings for the building before you can pour the concrete, because the anchor bolts, the footers, and all of those.
I'm familiar with that.
Okay, so that's what happened is a reputable building manufacturer that we purchased the building from filed for bankruptcy. Before before they delivered us the drawings or the building. So we had to pivot to another building contractor, and that did cause the delay. So that, ultimately, that is the delay in the concrete and the building.
Okay. You finished?
Yes, sir.
Okay, good explanation. But only time I eat, well, okay. First of all, what you said just now don't make any sense. Okay, let me make that clear. I'm talking about a person that does this type of work. Okay, it doesn't make, what you just said right there is an excuse. Because first of all, we go back to your official drawing that was approved. Okay? So are you pivoting on the fact that the official drawing that you put in front of this council was not a standardized drawing that's been used? I mean, for you to get this bid, is that what you're saying?
That was a general layout drawing, and it's different than detailed construction drawing.
I understand, listen, I understand that. But you're jumping from picking out a frying pan and cooking something in it. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, listen. What he just told us, and I want to get it straight, because if I'm wrong with this, please feel free to set me in place. You're saying the excuses. How long have y'all been on that contract? How long?
Help me out here, guys.
November 6th.
November 6th. I remember being promised here, and if I'm not mistaken, I think it might be in our local Crowley Post-Signal, that the terms were said that come April, man, we're going to have this done and that done. And I remember asking the question, will y'all have this ready for the next Rice Festival? And at the time, it was yes, we will. So, only thing I'm saying right here is this. I've had to eat crow many times, you know, got in over my head and say, you know what? Can't do it, need help. And that's when the slogan, you need help, call Steph. Well, Steph can't help you here. Because I'm going to tell you right now, when I saw the contract, I knew it couldn't be built for that. I knew it couldn't. I mean, I don't get, look, man, basically what you put in front of us, and I'm looking at the cost of labor, the cost of material, and one of the worst conception of it is that where you was going to find the material at. And I remember something, and if I'm wrong, y'all tell me. Well, we already have what we call a stockpile of certain materials. Was that something related to this council? Because I can go back to the meeting. Those were specifics that were made. And the first thing came to my mind, well, how would you stockpile material when you don't know what material is going to be used on this? That was my question, okay, being in the construction business. All right, so the question that we have right here, how are we going to correct this? Because right now, the citizens are at a war stage with this council, and everybody's directing their attention to the mayor. And like I told him, the mayor done his legal authority by accepting the lowest bid. Okay? So y'all can get off his back with that. Fact of the matter is, we have a local contractor over here that I'm pretty sure have asked, and I'm pretty sure if you ask him real nice, he'll come help you out, man.
We don't need help.
Oh, you need help. You need something. You need Jesus to start with, but you need help.
Look here, I have plenty of Jesus, and I have respected you, and I ask that you do the same and not come to not come to me with religion. We're not asking for any help. We don't need any help. We had a building contractor that filed bankruptcy.
And whose fault is that?
Is it yours? Is it mine? No.
Well, you're the one that hired him.
They're a reputable company.
You're not reputable if you know what? Your bonding agent, what did he have to say about that?
They're fine, because we're still going to complete. If you look at the schedule in front of you, we still show a completion date before your Rice Festival, which is what we told you.
And if it's not met, what is the consequences that y'all are willing to accept in front of this body?
We have a contract that has liquidated damages associated with it.
Yes, well, liquidated damages only go to a certain extension, okay? I'm going to ask you what in your personal, okay, because you're giving us a personal, shall we say,
this isn't personal, sir. This is business.
Anytime you deal with taxpayers' money, it's personal to us because we are the correspondents of the personal money, okay, the citizens' money. So I'm going to tell you right now, I don't think you can do it. That's just me. Because you got weather that's coming up. You got, you know what? If this council feels that you need an extension, so be it. But I'm one of the ones that's not willing to give it to you. Y'all have shown no trust in fair market playing with us, okay? Because you're telling us that your concrete man or whoever filed bankruptcy. Well, that didn't happen yesterday.
No, Mr. Byrne, if I could.
Okay, all right, I'm finished, man.
I want to try and clarify something. I did speak with the contractors, and Dr. Mark spoke with the contractors herself. She called them and spoke with Dylan. What they just told us, so that I'll try and explain it maybe in a different way. The general contractor, which is Prestige Construction Group, purchased a building, the metal structure that is going to be built there. They purchased it from a metal building manufacturer. Correct. The building, the post, the tin, the screws, the plans, the engineered plans, all of that is purchased from a metal building, for lack of better words for me, because I'm small Crowley, but a metal building manufacturer, a company who manufactures these buildings. Dylan explained to me they had three options to choose from. I think it was three or four options to choose from. And the option that they went with was a reputable business. Multiple contractors, general contractors, dealt with this specific manufacturer of the building. Prestige Construction Group is on the hook for some money that they gave this manufacturer. I'm trying to use the right phrases here. They gave some money to this manufacturer for the engineered plans. They have to have, I'm working on that now with the records retention building. Before you even form up the slab, you got to have the engineered plans for these buildings, because each manufacturer is different. The bolt holes that anchor it down to the concrete may be 2 inches off from a different manufacturer, and 2 inches is a whole lot. It doesn't match up, and so the bolt that's in the concrete slab when it's poured is no longer any good to anchor the building down. So they are still not able. Do y'all have the shop drawings, or do y'all have that ready?
We haven't checked our email at the end of
Okay.
the day, but we were supposed to receive the final reactions that the engineer needed by the close of business today.
Okay.
We just haven't accessed our email since
Okay,
we've been
so
here.
they paid money. They paid money, their money. We're not on the hook for this. They're on the hook for this, to this manufacturer, this original manufacturer. They tried to communicate with this manufacturer over and over again, and to no avail. No communication. They would not communicate back. I don't know if y'all showed up over there and knocked on the door and found a lock on it or what, but they realized that this company is no longer in business. They took money not only from Prestige Construction Group, but from other contractors, general contractors, who had other projects going on. They took money from them. They locked the door, and whether they went on vacation or what, retired, I don't know, but they took the money and they ran. Prestige Construction Group in this situation has to deal with that on their own. That's not our problem. That's their problem. They chose that. They have to deal with it. Since then, they've had to start the process over again with another building manufacturer, and that's where they're at now, waiting on that building manufacturer to give them these plans to say, this is where the bolts need to go for you to erect this building as soon as it comes in. They cannot pour that slab or farm it up until they have those plans. That is what has delayed the process of work being done above the dirt. Up until today, work has been done below the dirt. There is plumbing, there is subsurface storm drainage, there's water lines, there's electrical lines, sewage. All of those things have been done below ground. And so, I'll be honest with you, I told Dylan, I said, it looks like a damn bomb went off out there. It looked good for a little while, and then it's all dug up. And I'm like, what the heck is going on? And so that's when we talked about it, and he explained it to us. Look, the new Gantt chart, as it's called, I couldn't think of that word earlier. That's why I said the schedule.
It is the schedule, though. The Gantt chart's just the pretty bars out to the
Okay,
side.
this thing here, this smart sheet, the new completion date, if you look at the very last sheet, is showing September 28th. If you look at page 5 of 7, you'll see June 10th up there, which is today. That's where we are currently. So anything before that date on the previous pages has been completed. Anything from that point on, you can follow the schedule and see. I can't see. Poor ticket booth, sidewalks, and curbs are going to happen in June. Let's hope.
And there's some forms up out there right now if you were to look.
As long as we can get some dry weather.
If you look at June 15th, correct me if I'm wrong, it looks like they're going to form and pour the pavilion foundation. That's what they're expecting to do, if you get the proper information from the manufacturer of the building, correct?
That is correct.
Site furnishings will be in. Again, some of the payments are because of products that were ordered because they wanted to order things so that they're not going to wait until the concrete's poured to order benches because they may not come in time, so they're going to order the benches. They should be in June 22nd, somewhere around in there.
The furnishings are actually on site as we speak.
Okay, and so that's what some of the payments have been for. The work that's been done subsurface. And I want to remind you all that there was a groundwater issue. We, because we were all out there, me, Wesley, street department, contractors, working diligently to figure out where in the hell that water was coming from. Underneath that building when we tore it down was, I don't know how that building wasn't rotten to no end, but it was full of water. And every time they'd dig a hole, water would come out the ground. And Ben Labiche didn't like me during that time because I argued with him. You got a water leak. You need to stop your water leak. You're costing this contractor days of work, weeks of work, because you got a water leak and we got to dry this hole up. And Lawco, they called from Baton Rouge. They had people come from Lawco. There was no leaks. It literally was groundwater coming up in that hole. They had to seal that hole off with clay. They had to pack it in and seal that hole off to stop the water from coming through. Finally filled in that big hole and they got to work on it. I'll tell you that I've been after them. I tell them the sun was shining. Where y'all at? You know, but I do understand it kind of is out of their control that they have the delay with the building manufacturing situation.
Well, and
Doesn't cost us any more money.
And one thing I'll add to that, and I mean, I don't know you guys, and I'm not my job to defend you or anything, but I think it bears mentioning. Once that building contract or the building manufacturer declared bankruptcy, I mean, a lot of people might be wondering, well, why didn't they hold their feet to the fire? Why didn't they force them to honor the contract? As soon as they declare bankruptcy, legally, by federal law, there's an automatic stay that goes in place. You can't even pick up the phone and call them. So they were really powerless to compel the manufacturer that they had contracted with to produce that building. So I just thought that bared mentioning.
Appreciate that, but at the end of the day, this ain't got nothing to do with the price of salt. Salt is the cheapest subsidies you can buy. Fellas, so you maintaining, well, anyone have a sheet that can be read? This looked like something that you ran out of ink with it 20 pages ago. Okay, I want to see your timeline. Okay, this is.
That's not the timeline.
Which
It's
one
the one that says smart sheet.
Okay,
Not, look, that one there.
which one is it?
We have
That's
another-
the payment
we have
app.
another one right
We
here.
have 11 by 17
Okay,
copies.
Bigger sheet right here we can pass out.
Okay, all right, thank you, Tim. Thank you.
Tim gave
Okay.
him a bigger one.
All right, with all due respect to everybody, so you maintain that your completion date will be answered. Am I hearing you right? So there'll be no coming to this council and say, you know what? It rained yesterday, I need 30 days.
Sir, I'm not telling you that. Rain days per contract, we have so many rain days,
Well,
and we get rain days back per contract. I'll tell you what we're gonna do, we're gonna follow the contract.
Okay, now, go back to your rain days now.
But-
How many rain days have y'all used on said contract?
Currently, we're at 56 total rain days.
How many?
56, that's from the National Weather Service, from the month of February to the end of May.
So 56 days right now, they have basically given y'all a reprieve on time.
Yes,
No,
sir, I can't,
well,
I
yes
can't,
and no.
I can't work in the rain.
Well, but that's why I asked the question. They gave, in other words, you can't rain a day, so guess what? We're gonna give you another 24 hours.
According to contract.
Right.
And
okay.
those days, once we
All right.
get closer to the deadline, that'll have to be submitted, once we get through June
Well,
and July.
we have our engineer that's going to tell us whether it should be approved or not. I appreciate that. All right, fellas, well, I'll tell you what, man. If this council feels that this can be done in this amount of time, so be it. But until then, the vote for me gonna still be no. But I appreciate the time with it. Tim, you can have this right here, buddy.
Well, Mr. Ashford.
I got just one question I want to ask, and hey, I understand people go out of business all the time, and I'm a contractor as well, and it's one thing that we hate. But up to date, how far do you think you're behind from what your original timeline would have been from today?
So if you look at our original timeline, which was the 6th of August, which is 270 days from the day we signed the contract, once you add the extension, which has already been approved for the drainage, that brings us to the 19th of August. Once we go in and add those rain days and stuff, we're talking, so the 19th to the 30th, which is our substantial completion, the 30th of September. I mean, you're talking, what is that, 11, that's 30, so that's 41 days. We're 41, and then you add in your rain days in there, the approved rain days. We're really not talking about that much time in regards to extension of us coming to y'all and asking for more time when it relates to the building matter. We're not talking about a whole lot of time. Most of this is related to weather.
And just to note too, that this schedule that you have is based on 5/10s. Now, once we get the building in, and so if we have any delays, we do have mitigation for the Saturdays and Sundays to make those days up, but we're being conservative with the 5/10 schedule right now with the unknowns.
Yes, sir.
Any more questions for him?
Yeah, I have a question.
Go ahead, Dr. Moore.
It's just a technical question in the timeline where you are, because I know as of Friday, when you took care of the sewage and the water, and I'm not a contractor or an architect, but I have watched you all move through this process, and you said that the electrical and the water, the sewage, that was taken care of. Are you in the phase where you're doing compaction?
So compaction underneath the pavilion pad and sidewalk areas is pretty much complete, other than there's an area down the center of the pavilion pad that will have to be retested just from where the electricians had to dig and things like that. But the ticket booth and the sidewalk areas have already been compacted and passed, and LA testing has those unit test results.
Okay, so we just have another testing to go through for the...
Yes, ma'am.
main.
And then once we go through and all of the stuff that is outside of concreted areas, once we go through and we do final grades before we go in and put sod down and we finalize everything, we have no problem getting them back out to retest all of that stuff. Just to
Who
give
does
everybody
that
a piece.
testing?
LA testing.
And so you get the go-ahead for the next step, once that compaction is done?
Yes, ma'am. Once we reach those compaction ratings and we pass based on the guidelines stipulated by the engineers or the architects, then we're able to proceed, and we can go in and we can put our landscaping in or erect the pavilion, whatever that case may be.
That's great. Thank you so much.
Yes, ma'am. I'm not looking at that directly in front of me, so I would lie to you if I tried to tell you that right now. Yes, sir, I can make sure CSRS gets that over to you. Okay. You guys contracted with the testing company, that's outside of us, it's a third
Yeah.
party, so it's,
No, we,
it's-
yes, correct. Yeah, correct. We've independently contracted Louisiana Testing for all the compaction. All of that, as Dylan mentioned, it all was good. The dirt was tested before it was even hauled in, and all the compaction was done. I do have concerns about the trenches that were dug through the concrete slab, most importantly, and I've requested from CSRS that those specific locations get retested for compaction, because I have concern about it. So they will be back out to check those areas, so.
As of right now, it looks like the very early start of August, but that's all contingent based on, once we get the approved drawings and those drawings go into, let's say we get the approved drawings and there's no revisions, then it'll go straight into manufacturing. If there's revisions, they have to be sent back, the drawings have to be revised, sent back to us, and then we have to send back to CSRS. So if all goes according to plan, you're looking at the very beginning of August to get that building.
Now, what was your question, Mr. Martin? Did you say turnkey as in giving us the keys? Oh, okay, all right. Oh, I got you, yeah. Yes, 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 sir. Yes, sir.
You-
September
you're talking about-
28th,
You
yes.
refer to building components.
Correct, yes, okay.
Sure, I know.
There be no further discussion on this purchase? Yeah, I know. It was already moved.
So,
do we gotta do all
yeah,
that?
go ahead and make a
I'll make-
you need a motion for number 2.
Was offered by Sammy Reggie, second by Dick Leger. All in favor?
Aye.
Nays, you have the same right? Motion carried. We done got our lesson on this building, though. There be no further business coming before public business, we recess.
Thank you, Mr. Byrne. Let's see, Community Economic Development, Alderwoman Chasson.
Thank you, Mayor. The Community and Economic Development Committee will come to order, and there is a quorum present. So as we're looking at events that are coming up with the City of Crowley Tourism Director, the free Red Rice and Blue 4th of July celebration will be held at the Acadia Parish Rice Arena. It's from 4 until 10 p.m. on July 4th. Musical entertainment will include Adam Leger from 4 until 5:30 p.m., Jarvis Jacobs 6 until 7:30, and the Chiwis from 8 until 10 p.m. Anything over fries competition will be a part of this year's Red Rice and Blue celebration. Cost is $40 per team, and teams can arrive as early as 1 p.m. on July 4th. Awards will be given in a number of categories: Savory, Sweet, and People's Choice. Deadline to enter is Monday, June 23rd. Contact Valerie Myers at City Hall for more information. To help you get in the 50s mood, plan to see the movie Grease free of charge at the historic Rice Theater this Friday on June 30th. And they're also working
13th.
on June 13th. Thank you. My brain is fried. I'm sorry. Christmas on the Curb Produce and Artesian Market on July 19th. From Crowley Main Street, a summer sock hop will be held in front of the historic Rice Theater on 6 p.m. on Friday, June 13th. Downtown dining and drink establishments will be open for you to grab a drink, ice cream, or a burger. Bring your lawn chairs and ice chest and enjoy the sounds of the 50s and 60s. I'm understanding there may be a prize for the best dressed. Main Street staff is also working with the Community Development Association to bring a farmer's artesian market to downtown Crowley in conjunction with Christmas in July on July 19th. From the Acadia Parish Chamber of Commerce, they're very happy to announce a number of ribbon-cutting grand opening events in the near future. June 17th, 10 a.m., Laborde Therapy. June 20th at 10 a.m., the Center for Children and Families. June 25th, 4 p.m. In and Out Labs. On June 26th, their Acadia Quarterly Luncheon is going to be data-driven development with Placer AI at the Green Room in Rain. Networking begins at 11:30. The program begins at noon. Register with the chamber. The quarterly business after hours is going to be July 10th at 5 p.m. at Rain Building and Loan. From the Crowley Garden Club, because of the many compliments about our downtown area from last year, the District 7 President's Meeting will be held at Reggie's downtown on June 18th to discuss plans among all these clubs for the coming year. The Crowley Garden Club will meet briefly after that to plan for their year, after which the club will recess until September. West Crowley Beautification Committee. Dr. Izora Proctor notes that these members continue to drive with trash bags in their vehicles, which is a great idea. So when they see trash in Crowley, they can stop and pick it up immediately. They go into Martin Luther King Park and pick up trash daily and encourage residents to keep their property clean and beautiful. The West Crowley Beautification Board met to discuss what other things could be done to improve Crowley and engage the citizens in this process. They also awarded Yards of the Month for June and July to owners of the property. The National Association of University Women Incorporated pageant was held in May and was very successful and well attended. The money derived from the pageant will be used for scholarships, back to school supply drive, literacy project with Crowley schools, meet and greet, and other projects in Crowley as needed. There's nothing from the West Crowley Historical Cultural District, but from Crowley Alumni Chapter of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority, their 50th anniversary event, a golden time of day celebrating 50 years of community service and engagement, was a beautiful and very successful celebration event. As I'm looking at Vicki Milson, y'all did a wonderful job. Congratulations. These ladies will now take a well-deserved rest as well, with no programming until August. And I'm thinking that they will be just spending that time thinking of other things that they'll be doing, because they do not stop. So from that, there are no action items, so discussion items. I'm seeing the Historic District Commission appointments, number of members, and all of that information, and I think that we have that information in our packet. It is a newly appointed commission, so there is no report to date. I believe that organization and determining what the process is going to be moving forward with that is going on. So
I just want to say that that is very exciting that we have a new commission, and our liaison chairman, Katie Chasson, will keep us informed once the commissioners get structure to their committee and their powers, and that's all in the Muni Code under historic districts. Some of you, I gave packets out. If anyone would like it, then I'll be glad to make you a packet. Thanks.
okay. Is there anything else that needs to be discussed? Oh,
Ms. Proctor.
Dr. Proctor, I didn't see you.
Thank you so much. Good evening to our honorable mayor and certainly our most efficient city council and all of our supportive citizens of Crowley. I represent the West Crowley Beautification Board, and I noticed that on the agenda for the Community and Economic Development Committee, it is not listed. However, Katie, you did state all of our activities that are going on. So it's a matter of semantics, in other words. So I'm asking the mayor and whoever makes the agenda, this is not the first time. And I'm asking the mayor and whoever is responsible for the making of this agenda to please include us. We will be most appreciative.
And let me say that it's always been on my list as I go through the monthly reports.
Yes.
So if it got left off the agenda a few months back and maybe never picked up,
You're
it was
right.
just an oversight. So
Thank-
we'll make sure that
Thank
happens.
you so much, Katie. Yeah, you are very good about texting, asking what are the activities going on, future, whatever. And we certainly appreciate that. And certainly appreciate the support of our mayor and this efficient council. God bless you, and thank you for all you do to make this community a viable community. And we're moving forward. Thank you.
Thank you so much. We'll make sure that that gets added, and very honestly, I didn't notice it wasn't there because it's on my list. Is there anything else that we need to discuss? With that, the Community and Economic Development Committee will recess.
Thank you, ma'am. Revenue and Finance, Alderman Lachele, you get to end the night again.
The caboose, huh? Thank you, Mayor. The Revenue and Finance Committee convenes. We have a full quorum of all the committee members present. We have no reports. We have no action items. We have no discussion items. With nothing else to come before the committee recesses.
Thank you all. Y'all have a good night. God bless. Mr. Dore, yes, sir. Microphone. Yes, Mr. Dore asked if we could please remember, Mr. Lyle Fogelman was one of our council members for quite a few years, and he recently passed. 16 years, if we can remember him, and of course his family in your prayers. Mr. Lyle was a good friend and of course a neighbor too.